Kind-hearted, kind-hearted, kind-hearted. As an adjective, this means having or showing a sympathetic nature, and it also means having or showing a kind and sympathetic nature. Similar definitions, let's get into them. So, an example is if you see people in pain or animals in pain and you feel sympathetic towards them naturally, and you also, you can feel their pain, you can feel why they have that pain, and you feel bad about that pain. You're kind-hearted by the first definition, but by the second definition, you also have to be kind. So you might smile at people around you to make them feel happy or give donations to charity. And people who either have this sympathetic nature or both the sympathetic and kind nature are kind-hearted. Let's have a look at some example sentences. I have a kind-hearted auntie. I have a kind-hearted auntie. My dog is kind-hearted. My dog is kind-hearted. I hope my child will be kind-hearted. I hope my child will be kind-hearted. Quiet, quiet, quiet. As an adjective, this means making little or no noise. And it also means carried out discreetly, secretly, or with moderation. So, something that's quiet. A library is quiet. There's no noise in a library. If I speak like this, I'm being very quiet because I'm making little noise. And then the second definition, it just means, for example, you might have a quiet party. So you don't invite too many people, you don't want all the neighbors to know, and they come to your house and you have a discreet party, a secret party. Let's have a look at some examples. My father is a quiet man. He never speaks. My father is a quiet man. He never speaks. I find it hard to be quiet. I find it hard to be quiet. We want a quiet wedding. We want a quiet wedding. Our household is always quiet. Our household is always quiet. Children are never quiet. Children are never quiet. Ambitious, ambitious, ambitious. As an adjective, this means having or showing a strong desire and determination to succeed. So it might be a strong desire to make money, a strong desire to be the best at what you can do, a strong desire to be happy. You're ambitious if you have strong desires, along with a determination to succeed in what you have a strong desires for. So let's say I have a strong desire to make money and I'm determined to succeed, meaning I would work 14 hours a day to make money and become rich. That would show that I'm ambitious. If I had a strong desire to, own a farm, right? And I was determined to succeed in that goal, then perhaps I would spend 14 hours a day making money. And then once I have enough money to buy the land or a farm, I would spend all of my time and money trying to make that farm usable and make the best farm I can. That would display that I am ambitious about having a farm and running a farm. Right, let's have a look at some example sentences. My husband is an ambitious man. My husband is an ambitious man. I'm not being too ambitious with my children. I want them to be happy. I'm not being too ambitious with my children. I want them to be happy. I am not ambitious. I want an easy life. I am not ambitious. I want an easy life. Grateful, grateful, grateful. As an adjective, it means appreciative of benefits received or pleasing by reason of comfort supplied or discomfort alleviated. So the first description, the first definition is pretty easy to understand. Basically, if someone gave you a gift or someone gave you a gym membership or some kind of benefit, they did something to your benefit, and you were very happy about that, you were very appreciative, you said, oh, thank you, this is the most amazing thing that's ever happened to me. That would show that you are grateful to have received that, right? And then it can be pleasing by reason of comfort, means perhaps somebody were to give you a hug or a kiss when you're upset and it would make you feel better or comfort you, that you would be grateful for that kiss or that hug. Or perhaps if you were in pain and someone were to give you painkillers to alleviate that pain or discomfort, you would be very grateful towards that person or very grateful towards the painkillers. Right? Let's have a look at some examples. I am so grateful to have my husband. I am so grateful to have my husband. My children are grateful for everything I give them. My children are grateful for everything I give them. I was grateful for her hugs. I was grateful for her hugs. My brother is never grateful. My brother is never grateful. I hope my children grow up to be grateful. I hope my children grow up to be grateful. Peaceful, peaceful, peaceful. As an adjective, this means peaceable sense or untroubled by conflict, agitation, or commotion. Quiet and tranquil. So peaceable sense is like a sense of things being peaceful, an atmosphere where things aren't chaotic and crazy, where things are peaceful and relaxed. And then untroubled by conflict, agitation, or commotion. So a war, for example, is a conflict, right? And a country that causes wars or is in wars or fights with a lot of other countries or fights with people in their own countries, it's not a peaceful country. But a country that isn't involved in wars or conflicts could be seen as peaceful. And a place that's quiet and tranquil, like a yoga center, would be seen as peaceful, right? And this can mean personal conflict. It could mean in a relationship. Having a peaceful relationship would mean a relationship in which you don't argue so much, where there isn't conflict all the time. It's not tense, and it's a peaceful relationship. Let's have a look at some examples. Our home is peaceful. Our home is peaceful. It's so peaceful without the children here. It's so peaceful without the children here. I hope my son will be a peaceful person. I hope my son will be a peaceful person. We want things to be peaceful at home. We want things to be peaceful at home. Cheerful, cheerful, cheerful. As an adjective, it means full of good spirits and merry. And it also means conducive to cheer, likely to dispel gloom or worry. Very similar, actually. Right. So the first definition, it just means you're a very happy person. You're always joyful, merry, right? Or a dog could be full of good spirits, always merry, always joyful, always feeling great, right? The second one, conducive to cheer, that just means if you were to talk to someone and say, hey, how's your day going? They're ready to be happy. They're ready to be excited in any moment, sort of thing. If you give them any small amount of positive news, they'll be very positively affected by it. They'll be very happy to receive that news. And it also means someone who's likely to dispel gloom or worry. So if you were to talk to someone about a problem and you were very upset or very worried in a panic state, I would say, oh, don't worry about it. Everything's fine. I'm cheerful. Let's be happy. Don't you worry. And you would feel better. This is what cheerful means. Let's have a look at some example sentences. Our house is cheerful today. Our house is cheerful today. My baby is so cheerful when I sing. My baby is so cheerful when I sing. Let's do something more cheerful together. Let's do something more cheerful together. I have a cheerful wife. I have a cheerful wife. Tender, tender, tender. As an adjective, this means marked by, responding to, or expressing the softer emotions, fond and loving. And it also means showing care, considerate, solicitous. So the first example just means either, you show soft emotions like love and care, and you're very loving towards others. It could also mean somebody who responds very well to that kind of thing, like you kiss them and they get very excited, they express so much love and joy from your kiss, and they would also be a tender person or displaying tender characteristics. And then the second, showing care and consideration. This is like someone saying to you, hey, are you okay? I love you. You don't have to be upset. That's a very tender thing to say. Or perhaps your wife or your husband knows that you're really hungry and you come home hungry and tired, and they have food waiting for you because they're considerate of your feelings. And they give you the food, they give you a hot drink and say, "Go to bed, I love you." That's a very tender expression. Let's have a look at some example sentences. She's a tender woman. She's a tender woman. You have to be tender with children. You have to be tender with children. I must be more tender when I'm with my family. I must be more tender when I'm with my family. He gave his daughter a tender kiss. He gave his daughter a tender kiss. Intimate, intimate, intimate. As an adjective, it means marked by a warm friendship developing through long association, suggesting informal warmth or privacy, and also of a very personal or private nature. So the first one just means, a very happy friendship that's been a friendship for a long time. So it might be someone you've been friends with for 5 years and you feel great about each other. You feel good when you're around each other, warm and happy. That's an intimate friendship. Now, it could be, a private moment or a warm moment. So, for example, one of your children might pinch your cheeks and laugh, and you laugh, and you both feel very warm and happy. That's a very intimate, beautiful moment. It could be a private moment where you and your wife are in bed and there's no one else around, and you kiss each other and you hug each other. That's also an intimate moment. And it could be a very personal or private moment, or a personal or private thing. For example, you might have problems with your bladder. You might urinate a lot, and that might be embarrassing, and it's a very intimate and personal thing, for example. Let's have a look at some examples. Our household is very intimate. Our household is very intimate. I have an intimate friendship with him. I have an intimate friendship with him. My wife shares the intimate details of her life. My wife shares the intimate details of her life. They can trust me with intimate information. They can trust me with intimate information. Selfless, selfless, selfless. As an adjective, it means either having no concern for self, i.e. unselfish, could mean concerned more with the needs and wishes of others than with one's own, unselfish. I'm not entirely sure if this just means you're not afraid to die, you don't have any concern of what happens to you, and you could be selfless in that regard. I'm not entirely sure. Or if it just means you're not so worried about the things that happen to you, and you're selfless in that regard, but you're not looking to die necessarily or have bad things happen to you. And then the second one is a lot more easy to explain. So it just means, for example, maybe you're hungry or maybe you're thirsty, but your children are hungry as well and thirsty as well. So you let them eat and drink first because you care more about their needs and wishes than your own. So you've been selfless with your own children, right? Let's have a look at some examples. His actions are selfless. His actions are selfless. My husband is selfless. He'd die for our children. My husband is selfless. He'd die for our children. I'm not a selfless person. I find it hard to give to my family. I'm not a selfless person. I find it hard to give to my family. My grandfather was a very selfless man. My grandfather was a very selfless man. Radiant, radiant, radiant. As an adjective, this means radiating rays or reflecting beams of light, and it also means marked by or expressive of love, confidence, or happiness. So the first definition is pretty easy. It just means something that, is very light, like a light, like the moon radiates rays of light, right? And then the second one is also quite simple. If you show a lot of love and affection for somebody, you could be seen as radiant. And similarly, if they show that love, if you're very confident as a person, you walk around and you say, "I'm the best, I'm amazing," you're radiant in the sense of being confident. And if you're very happy and that happiness makes other people happy, You're also a radiant person, right? And other people who inspire those feelings in you are radiant people. Let's have a look at some examples. My baby has a radiant smile. My baby has a radiant smile. My sister has a radiant personality. My sister has a radiant personality. I am a radiant person. I am a radiant person. That is a radiant light. That is a radiant light.